Good evening. I'm Clifford Murray, and this is another video on Cliff's office. Cliff's office being an extension of Empowerment for Tomorrow. I'm doing this video just off the top of my dome. Early today, I was riding around the city, got some lunch earlier, and just thinking about all of the ridiculous shenanigans that have been, they take place in our community day in and day out. I'll try to get through this video. I have a heavy heart with this on some things that have transpired over the past several days here in Charlotte. It may have made the national news. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The incident has played out for several years all over the Black American landscape. Over the past Labor Day weekend, some of you may be aware, here locally, and then, of course, this video reaches who it reaches around the world, what have you. Two cars pulled up in a neighborhood, a black neighborhood, looking at the video that was captured from a Nest doorbell camera from across the street. Two cars roll up in this relatively nice neighborhood, black neighborhood, nice neighborhood. Several young people get out. The narrative on the local news assessments have been that they were teenagers. But anyway, they unload 150 rounds into a house at about 12 o'clock midnight. If you look at the actual news articles and reports, this apparently happened at like 11:49 p.m. over the weekend. But two cars roll up. Several gunmen get out and unload 150 rounds into this house. Killing a 3-year-old boy, black boy, in the process. Fortunately, and a few days ago, some suspects have been rounded up. Two of the several have been charged. And I don't know why, but I printed out a picture of them, since the narrative around the local news has been that this has been related to some type of 3 high schools, teenagers involved, but you can't show those faces because they're minors. But we've also heard stories in the past like this, where there's still adults involved in these shenanigans, where they're still involved with teenagers. Well, anyway, this is one of the ones they arrested. He's 21 years of age. They arrested him, and another 21-year-old has been arrested as well. They have been charged with murder. They're still looking for the other several assailants who were guns blazing into that house. Just guns blazing. They hopped into 2 cars and drove off. But they got those two. Three-year-old boy is dead. And the title of this video, as I'm driving around with all of these things on my mind, processing them through, the title of this video, I got the thought, have we as Black America, Black men, Black America, we know what this channel is for, primarily, have we reached the point of no return? Has Black America overall come to the point of no return? I don't want to sound like a defeatist. That question has been brought up to me years ago as to why I would be spending money, putting my money where my mouth is, buying materials, doing things, trying to get Empowerment for Tomorrow off the ground, doing these videos. I'm also working on another project as we speak. I'll talk more about that later on as I get closer to completing this particular project. All for the love of my people, with my 2 cents in this Black empowerment, going down the avenue of Black men, which I'll use the word arguably, but there's really no argument. Black men, the United States of America's public enemy number one. The bottom of the bottom of the bottom within the microcosm of Black America. No damn doubt about it. And in true white supremacist news media form, but then again, there you go. In looking up the article, looking at the associated videos that go with this article in the local news reports, the usual blueprint is put in place. A follow-up article and news report to this, and you can almost see the certain look in the white female reporter's face as she's talking to the anchor desk. This incident has gotten the entire city of Charlotte, as you would expect, in an emotional uproar. And yet, all of the faces that have been centered around solving this type of problem with our young people, in this follow-up article on the tail end of capturing these 2 suspects and charging them with murder in this case, there's a story on the news. The mothers, all of them are Black women. The mothers are coming together in the neighborhood to discuss matters on what must be done. The Black female, the Black mothers are coming together in this neighborhood, and other Black mothers around the city are getting together to see what must be done to stop this. That's the headline quote from several news anchors and reporters reporting on this horrific incident. There are no Black men around in the cameras. None. Also with this story, the house has been boarded up. And they talk, now that they've got the suspects, the police probably know who else is involved. They are doing what they're going to do under the radar and with all tactical things from a police department perspective. They'll get the other guys. Who does the news media focus on? The 3-year-old who was murdered. They finally do an interview with surviving member who didn't get killed by all of those bullets going into the house, the grandmother. And the grandmother is crying and she is just distraught and basically with a theme of, why can't we just all get along and come together and love one another? I don't know what's going on. She doesn't know what's going on. She's emotionally distraught. And all of the mothers in the neighborhood are coming together to get a handle on what's going on so they can figure out ways to stop this shit. And for somebody out there who wants to say, well, they showed a black man talking about, you dumb surrogate nigga, sit your fucking ass down. Now you got to be in fucking denial if you haven't seen and figured out by now how the news media runs shit. Even if there are some black men out there, we got to get a handle on this shit. They're never showed. And the few black men that they do show in incidents like these, that's a beta male bussy bitch nigga 9 times out of 10, or some black pastor in the neighborhood talking about, we just need to pray. So for the 1 or 2 out of 10 black men who they do show versus the 8 or 9 times out of 10 black women, nigga, sit your fucking ass down. Get off this fucking channel. No black man anywhere. Certainly portrayed by the news media. Check your ass in the fucking throat right now. Talking to the grandmother. The mothers are going to figure out how to solve this shit. Are we cursed? Are we cursed? I don't know. Heard that growing up throughout my life, like a lot of you. Damn, well, black folk just cursed. I mean, we gravitate to some of the most ridiculous shit. And speaking of that, the last video I left off, I said I'd assess this milk crate challenge shit. Now, on the surface, this milk crate challenge shit really should be something that I shouldn't give a nanosecond to. I talked about in my inaugural video, there are things that we shouldn't even be wasting time with. But it seems like it was one of those things that were gaining ground, kind of like critical race theory and all of the snowball avalanche shit that it's doing. So what is this milk crate challenge crap? So right before I got ready to put this video together, soon as I punch up milk crate or crate challenge, the first thing that comes up in my Google window is crate challenge shooting. Well, lo and behold, I click on the damn article and there we go. As reported by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, a newspaper I'm familiar with growing up in Atlanta, it's still around. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported on August 26th, a couple of weeks ago, about two found dead, two shot at and killed during filming of a milk crate challenge in Shreveport, Louisiana, back on August 22nd. Now, as I'm reading the article, before I even see the video clip that somebody took quickly because 21 shell casings were found, I knew they were black. I kind of, Shreveport, Louisiana, okay, milk crate challenge. But what nailed down for me before I even saw the video clip, the term drive-by. And you've heard me use words like cultural DNA. They're just some things that you can listen to a news report, and the nature and the way the crime was conducted, we've all formulated, oh, there's some white people who did that, or that's a Latino Hispanic, or that's a black thing. When you hear drive-by, that seems to be exclusively a black thing. So when I first clicked on the milk crate challenge and all of the ridiculousness, the first article that pops up is a shooting that happened a couple of weeks ago. 2 people shot dead. A drive-by, as they were filming, there's a black man standing up at the apex of the milk crate. Looked like he'd made it that far, but he's one of the people who got shot. You hear the shots ring out. Another black guy who was during the filming, he's running, talking about, let me get my gun, and so forth. And 2 people are dead. Negroes. I think Mike Tomlin, during the preseason, had to get on one of his players about participating in this milk. Drive-by, broad open daylight. Looking at the timestamp on the video that was captured at summertime, or this time of year. Doesn't get dark until close to 9 o'clock almost. This seems to have went down around 7:50 p.m. Sun was still out. And somebody comes driving by while he's on top of the milk crate. Shoot him, kill him. Other bullets hit a 19-year-old black woman in the back seat of her car near the area where this was going on. She's dead. They apparently haven't found the assailants yet who have done it. A couple of weeks ago, we see where a white police officer in Chicago physically attacks a black woman after he told her, ma'am, she was at one of the recreational parks in Chicago, walking her dog. White police officer, race soldier, and the black woman again was by herself, no black men around. He physically attacks her and stuff. She lives to see another day to report him, video from her phone and other people. He still attacked her physically. We all saw a couple of weeks before that a white man getting out of his truck who turned out to be a felon, violating his probation scenario from Ohio. His ass is down in Mississippi for some reason, jumps out and attacks Shaquille Brewster, who was doing a report on Ida. This white dude jumps out of his truck, marches over to the film crew, and then attacks the brother on national TV. And back to this horrific thing that happened here in Charlotte. About a week before that, a 14-year-old, and he's black, looking at the media coverage around it and talking to the people associated with the understanding of things. Again, you can't show a minor because he's underage. You don't give their name and you don't show their face, but they're black. A 14-year-old black boy here in Charlotte shoots and kills a 16-year-old black boy. And then you've got this scenario with 150 rounds emptied out into a house, killing a 3-year-old. City of Charlotte emotionally unhinged. And all of these scenarios have our black ass faces all over it. Young black men, particularly involved at its core, in the black women who are going to save us from it all. These type of stories play out all over the black American landscape in this country. You got Larry Elder, political coon nigga number one, running for the governorship of California. Wouldn't be surprised if he pulls it off. Newsom, who's the Democratic incumbent, they're involved in some type of recall scenario. You know, it's two states that always seem to be involved in a lot of political shit. California and Florida, but that's another damn topic for another day. Those two states always seem to be just involved and embroiled in all type of shit, from criminal justice to political shenanigans. But anyway, Larry Elder, black conservative, coon nigga surrogate, he's certainly in the top 5%. I'll be doing a subsequent video as I try to get back on the syllabus after all of these gut-wrenching things that have transpired and just got my spirit all. But I'll be talking about and pointing out who these nigga surrogates are. But Larry Elder fixed his mouth to say in a podcast, I believe, with Candace Owens, and I'm paraphrasing the quote from the article I read following up on it. Larry Elder points out that during the Civil War, white Southerners deserved reparations as much as black people did, if you want to argue it in a court of law, because white owners had their property taken away. They lost their property. During his campaign, out in the streets, marching and walking and stuff like candidates tend to do, I think somebody threw an egg at him. They missed him, but he's having eggs thrown at him and all of this and that. But anyway, he makes a comment, makes a statement like that. I'm glad, to a degree, I'm glad I'm not so numb with all of the unarmed black people who continue to be shot at, shot down, and killed and so forth. That's not going to stop. Matter of fact, it'll probably ratchet up after the George Floyd thing, because white supremacists, even though they're what, a million black people or one or two, they've been winning the race for 465 years. But even when they take a L like George Floyd, and even that case was centered around and established it was going to be from second degree murder out of the gate, white supremacy feels like they've taken an L. In this January 6th insurrection that went down, I'm not even going to go into some of the articles I've seen and the Band-Aid patches that have been put on the people involved in that shit. As we remember the 20th anniversary of what happened on 9/11. And that was a sad state of affairs from a collective scenario, if you want to call it that. But my heart, what's going on in the black community, even more so, my goodness. And the things that continue to transpire here in Charlotte and around, just around the country. I'll wake up tomorrow and there'll be something else that's just flat out unbelievable that's going on in the black community, and it'll probably have all of the benchmarks. Young black men involved in doing the stupid shit. Black women are going to save it and correct it because they're the only ones who can save any damn thing anyway. There are no black men talking about shit. And the so-called black men that we have in these so-called pillars of leadership, I've echoed before, and I will get to that topic, learning assessment, as I follow the syllabus. Black clergy, black politicians, and black educators do more damage to black empowerment than you can shake a stick at. The cowards that are running rampant. And related to these teenage related, even though they arrested two 21-year-olds involved, the NAACP president of the Charlotte chapter is a black female. And she's been all over the news. And the mayor of the city of Charlotte is a black female. Haven't seen a whole lot of black men's faces, practically none, addressing these horrendous issues. Just one of those days that make me feel like, why bother with our black ass? Thought about doing another video to get it out this weekend as well, but I'll wait till next week. Next week, I'm going to be dealing with the topic learning assessment, the 5 areas that Black men want to ensure that they're operating from a position of strength. For those of us who understand spiritual matters and numerical spiritual significance, the number 5 is the number for grace. The number 5 and or multiples of 5, you will more than likely see the thesis statement running through that scenario that the Most High has set up. There will be a component that's indicative of grace, which a lot of times is simply defined as unmerited favor. But anyway, I'm going to be talking about 5 areas of life that Black men, specifically for Black men, some of these things that I'm going to be talking about in these 5, Black man, a white woman, a Asian, wouldn't make a damn bit of difference. These are 5 things that Black men want to ensure that they are operating from a position of strength as they walk through this life and walk through this country that's white supremacist controlled. I even ask Black fathers to get their teenage sons around it. Well, maybe I should even stop with that damn appeal. Love you more than you know. See you next week.